Thank you for taking the time to learn about the City of Tukwila budgeting process. We hope this presentation gives you a good overview of the budget, as well as the priorities and proposed work plan for 2017-2018. We'd also like to hear your thoughts on the 2017-2018 priorities and any input or feedback you may have on the proposed work plan. Here is a list of what this presentation will cover. This list is also the various stations that will be available at the budget open houses that the city will host this month. So, getting right into it all, this section will give you a high-level overview of the city's budget. We like to call it Budget 101. Here are our budgeted revenues and expenditures for 2016. Throughout this presentation, you will see a lot about the general fund. This is the fund that covers basic city services, such as law enforcement, parks and recreation, code enforcement, finance, etc. Other funds, which we will discuss later, are restricted and can only be used for specific things, making the general fund the most critical source of revenue for city services. Also listed on this slide is our capital budget for 2016. While the city funded $4 million in capital projects, things like street work and sidewalk replacement, we were also able to leverage another $24 million in grants, such as the Safe Routes for School funding that paid for new infrastructure around Thorndike Elementary. I mentioned on the last slide that the general fund is the critical one for basic city services. These are the other funds, which are restricted to specific things. For instance, the enterprise funds, which are funded through fees for service, must be spent on those specific enterprises. For example, the water fund can only be spent on water-related infrastructure. The other funds listed here are pretty small and cover things like debt service on bonds that are paying for specific projects, such as 42nd Avenue South, and employee healthcare. Here's how the general fund is funded. As you can see, about 55% of it comes from taxes, sales tax and property tax. Approximately 80% of our property taxes are paid for by the business community. Similarly, as a regional shopping destination, most of the sales tax is derived from out-of-town guests. The All Other Revenues category includes things like licenses and permit fees, charges for services, and fines. Now to the question everyone has: where does the money go? More than half goes to public safety, to police, firefighters, and public works staff who perform essential public safety functions. You can see the distribution to other departments here. The transfers category is largely money from the general fund that goes to capital projects. I talked earlier about enterprise funds, the ones that are restricted for use within the specific enterprise. This slide gives you an idea of the budgeted expenditures for 2016. This slide gives you an idea as to what those other funds are used for. LEF 1, for those of you who don't know, is a law enforcement and firefighter retirement obligation. Now, switching over to how the general fund gets its funding. Earlier I said that 55% of the general fund comes from property taxes. However, the city only receives around 20% of the property taxes homeowners pay in Tukwila. This is a breakdown of an actual home in Tukwila in the McMicken neighborhood. We took this information directly from the assessor's office to give you an idea of where property taxes in Tukwila actually go. 58% of the property taxes goes to schools, most of that to local schools, in this case Highline, and some to the state. The county gets 12%, and you can see some of the smaller taxing districts, such as the library, take up another 9%. Similarly, here's a breakdown of sales tax distribution in the city of Tukwila. While we generate more sales tax than 28 of Washington's 39 counties, we get less than 1% of what is generated in the city. Nearly 70% of it goes to the state, with another 22% going to pay for transit services. This slide really shows how important Tukwila is as an economic engine for our state when you think about the fact that we generated $206 million in sales tax in 2015, of which more than $140 million went directly to the state of Washington. This slide gives you a quick overview of the other taxes we have in the city. Finally, here's a look at other revenues. I realize we just went through a lot of information on the budget and numbers. Equally important, however, is to understand how we budget, and in the city of Tukwila, it's by priorities. In 2012, the city developed its strategic plan, with significant involvement from residents, the business community, and other stakeholders. Collectively, we developed these 5 strategic plan goals that were formally adopted by City Council. When we begin to prepare a biennial budget, we start here, with the strategic plan goals, and develop budget priorities that inform and guide what we fund for the next 2 years. Before we jump into 2017-2018, let's review the 2015-2016 priorities. Given that there's only 6 months left in the biennium, looking at our current budget priorities and our results to date gives you a good idea of how this budgeting by priorities works. Here you can see how our strategic plan goal number 1, budget priorities of Tukwila International Boulevard community transformation and community livability, resulted in concrete results. Because we identified this priority, we focused a lot of resources on purchasing and demolishing the motels on Tukwila International Boulevard, which has resulted in a transformation of that neighborhood. We've implemented safe routes to school at Thorndike and Cascade View Elementary Schools, added 2 additional police officers, and have realized a 15-year low in robberies and a 56% reduction in residential burglaries. You can see that there are a number of other accomplishments here as well. Here is our 2015-2016 budget priority for goal number 2, which was to expand our work with partners to implement our collective plans and visions. A major focus of this was enhancing our engagement with the school district, which has been very successful. We also helped lead the Boeing Access Road Coalition, which successfully advocated for the new light rail stop at Boeing Access Road, which is currently a part of Sound Transit's new capital package. We recognize the importance of economic development and are currently developing a specific economic development plan. We have also had a number of results to enhance economic development this biennium, as you can see here. Probably the most visual one is the current construction of Washington Place, which will be a 19-story tower in the central business district and is already catalyzing other growth and development in the area. Another priority we identified is to continue our work to make city government a more effective organization. Here is a sample of our results this year. I think one of the most impactful results was city staff identifying our core values of caring, professional, and responsive, and then implementing them throughout the organization. These values are an important guide in our everyday work and have been strongly embraced by the organization. Finally, here's the last priority we identified for the 2015-2016 biennium: improving communications and community identity. With the development of a new communications office, we were able to bring back the Hazelnut, completely redo our website, and bring new communications channels online, such as Tuck TV's original programming. Other initiatives include our award-winning See You in the Park events and expanded council chats. Now we turn to the next biennium and the budget priorities that have been identified, as well as the proposed work plan items for the city. I'm hoping this part of the presentation can be more interactive, where you provide feedback such as identifying what each priority means to you, which proposed work plan items you think are the most important, and what you think is missing from the presentation. Here are the priorities we have identified for strategic goal number 1 for 2017-2018. Cultivate safe, attractive, and welcoming neighborhoods, and promote dynamic urban environments. Some new work plan items that will help us achieve these priorities are the new crosswalk that is going in at Tukwila International Boulevard and 142nd, increased street tree planting, and our public art plan implementation. You'll see that there are a significant number of other ongoing projects that fall into this category, including finishing Phase 3 of 42nd Avenue and finishing the improvements to 53rd. Priorities identified for goal number 2 include leveraging effective partnerships and collaboration and encouraging healthy, safe, and affordable housing. Some of the work plan items here include continuing our successful partnership with the Tukwila School District and working to address housing affordability issues. You can also see in the middle column there is a sample of partnerships that we have and use to leverage resources, ideas, and solutions in Tukwila. Another priority for 2017-2018 is to maximize Tukwila's significant economic strength and potential. Tactics for meeting this priority include an enhanced city effort around workforce development, utilizing lodging tax dollars to create a marketing campaign through the Tukwila Marketing Partnership to bring more visitors to shop and recreate in Tukwila. To meet our goal of being a high-performing organization, the city's 2017-2018 budget priority focuses on ensuring organizational effectiveness and responsible financial stewardship. Work plan items to meet this priority include expanding online activities such as permitting and recreational activities, as well as enhanced community reporting with police records as well as community-generated issues. It also means focusing on addressing our significant public safety facilities deficiencies, so that we're all assured that when we face a major earthquake, our fire, police, and public works departments have the ability to adequately respond to our community's needs. Finally, in this budget, we're also prioritizing efforts to foster civic pride and an informed community. We'll do this by developing neighborhood improvement programs, expanding our Parks Watch effort, and kicking off Healthy Tequila to support our community and their wellness goals. And now one more quick slide before we end the presentation. We want to be sure you are well informed on the budget process. While the city is actively engaging in outreach right now to solicit feedback and input on the priorities and proposed work plan, we also want to be clear that there are many opportunities for community engagement between now and when the budget is passed in the fall. The City Council, both at full council and during committee meetings, will have regular briefings and discussion about the budget, and you are encouraged to be part of that effort. Once the mayor transmits the budget in early fall, there will be another open house to see the specifics included in his proposal. The Council will also spend considerable time deliberating the proposed budget, which provides community members the opportunity to weigh in at council meetings, council chats, and other communications with council members who will make the final decision on the budget in late fall. Thanks again for taking the time to learn about the city's budgeting process.